Hey there everybody, Nathan Elson here. Welcome back to the channel. Now today I'm going to take you behind the scenes. I'm going to show you how I used one light to create an image that looks exactly like this, and then another one that looks exactly like this. And with that being said, let's just get into it. So here we are in the studio and I'm only using one light, which is the 8600 Pro with the StrobePro Optical Snoot attached. Now for those of you who are unfamiliar with the Optical Snoot, I did an entire video on version 1 of this modifier, which I will link at the end of this video. Now the version that I'm using is the version 2, the upgraded version. It's got a better build, it's got a lens attached to it. It's just all around just a better system, but what it does is essentially the same. And I will link it at the end of this video. If you're interested in checking that out, do so. I mean, it's one of my favorite modifiers and it's just something that can create really interesting light. Now, the one thing about this modifier is it does take a lot of light to use, especially at this distance from my model. So I've actually got my 8600 Pro powered at full power. And what that's giving me at my model for a reading is f4 at 1/2 of a second at ISO 800. So that means that my camera also needs to be set to f4 at 1/2 of a second at ISO 800. Now, obviously you can see in this video that there's some natural light coming into the studios from the windows above. Now at ISO 800, my camera is definitely picking that up, but it's actually helping to open up the shadows a little bit, acting as a secondary light that's complementing the optical snoot. So I'm actually essentially using the optical snoot as my only studio light, but because I'm shooting at ISO 800 and there's light coming into the studio that normally wouldn't be affected at ISO 100, at ISO 800 is actually opening up the shadows a little bit and just adding a little bit more detail into those shadow areas. So it's just a great way to kind of use what's available mixed with my studio lighting to create something that, you know, essentially only needs one light when, if it was completely dark, I would definitely need two. Now with the model up nice and close to the backdrop, this is what the images end up looking like. Now for the second set of images, I wanted to pronounce the shadow onto the backdrop a little bit more. So I moved the model away from the backdrop so that shadow would become more prominent. I also wanted to concentrate less on full body and a little bit more on 3/4 length. So we changed the outfit and we just kind of, maneuvered things around a little bit. But when you move your subject closer to your lighting, that's changing the exposure that you're getting from that light. So when I moved the model closer, I ended up having to drop my main light, which is the 8600 Pro, by a full stop. So I dropped it from full power to half power. And that gave me, again, those settings of f4 at 1/4 of a second at ISO 800. And when we put all of that together, well, this is what these final images ended up looking like. And so with that, hopefully you guys enjoyed that behind the scenes, but if you want to see how I created images that look exactly like this, make sure you tune in for next week's video. It's one light, it's a banger, it's gonna be super, super fun. But with that being said, thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate you, and I will talk to you again very, very soon. Cheers.